This week's podcast, Walker's on. Yeah, you haven't heard that one before, have you, mate? No.
Never.
Chris Walker joins us to talk about life after sport because he's found himself a niche and he's the happiest human I've met.
Yeah, Greg, that's right. I finished playing professional rugby league 10 years ago, Parramatta. I got into a bit of an earth-moving business as I was playing football, and that was my exit strategy from playing rugby league and playing professional sport. It didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. After about 9 years, we were owed a lot of money, and unfortunately I had to take myself down. And I sort of found myself in a bit of a hole for 3 years because that was the stage that I had to sit on the sidelines, putting the rugby league terminology. I was on the bench for 3 years and had a little bit of time to reflect, and I met up with a couple of pretty cool people along the way when I was on the sidelines, and I got to do what I'm doing at the moment, which I'm very pleased that I met these guys and had the opportunity to change other people's lives that are going through not only what I was going through, but every different charity aspect in the world.
Mate, I love that. Let's rip in and hear Chris's story.
Welcome to the Body Science Podcast. As always, the information contained in this podcast is for the information purposes only and is not designed to diagnose or be prescriptive to treat, prevent, or manage any injury, disease, or other health-related condition.
Welcome to Body Science HQ, the world of fit, happy and healthy. And with me, well, I'm going to say one of Australia's best known athletes. I know you're probably thinking, why do you say that? But mate, you've been known for a lot of reasons, not just what you did on the field. You were one of those athletes that entertained. Is that a good way to put it? On and off the field? And
more so probably off the field, actually.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you've done some of your best work off the field for those people who've been lucky enough to be part of it. But what I wanted to, and I mean, Body Science has done a lot with you recently in your new venture, and we love what you're doing. And just when I look in your eyes, you can just tell how much passion you have for where you're going. And I think it's really cool that we tell people stories, because whenever I mention your name, I get two types of looks. I get, oh, that guy was a weapon, or I get, oh, that guy is a serious weapon. And I'm not talking about the on-field stuff there. There's been some things, and mate, you've always been someone to talk. You don't hold back. You tell everyone your story. And whenever I'm around you and you're telling someone your story, and that's why you do a lot of these things now, isn't it? With you've created Fund My Challenge.
Yep.
And do you want to go through the process of, when you're a footballer, you're pretty much, you got a uniform, you're told when to come, when you're training, someone picks you up, someone drops you back.
You get a schedule for 2 weeks, and you live by that schedule.
Yeah.
This is my story. This is why I'm so blunt with my story, because it is my story. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to try and hide anything, because in the current world that we live in, everything's there to be seen, everything's there to be looked at. Everything. I don't sugarcoat my life. I don't try and hide behind anything. This is me and this is my life. And if someone wants to be a part of it, someone doesn't want to be a part of it, that's fine.
Fair enough. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm not governed by trying to include people in my life who don't want to be there.
Yep.
So touching on to Fund My Challenge.
What is it first?
So Fund My Challenge was born. Me and my business partner at the time were sitting down and we're talking about what Celeste Barber was going through and what she did with the fires. She raised a lot of money, thinking that the money was going to rebuilding communities, rebuilding all these communities who have been absolutely devastated by the fires. We all saw it, not only just in Australia, but we saw it all over the world. It was everywhere. Celeste Barber had used her personality and her celebrity to, I think at the point, she was thinking about raising $100,000. Now, it just went kabunta, went nuts. Kabunta. It went everywhere.
Heard that before?
Yeah, kabunta.
It went kabunta.
Yeah, it went kabunta. It went nuts with her personality and her celebrity, and her used it in a great way. Unfortunately, it got tossed in her face, but now we just wanted to rewrite that. We wanted to not make sure that happened again. And we wanted at Fund My Challenge, and that's why Fund My Challenge was born, is because we saw she wanted to go to the communities. Unfortunately, I shouldn't use that terminology, but it went to the New South Wales Royal Fire Brigade, and under their constitution, which is great, because next time there's a fire it's geared up, and that's great and it's awesome. That's, if you're going to look at a certain way, but under their constitution, they couldn't spend it on the communities that have been devastated. They had to spend it on training, new equipment, new trucks, which is great, like I said, because next time there's a fire that sweeps through, they're going to have the highest in technology, because they have $53 million at their disposal.
Amazing,
which is great. It's awesome. That's unbelievable. But she got dragged through the coals and through the media, sort of in a negative way. And I thought, let's create a platform that raises money for charities, foundations, and people in need, and have charities on there that say they're going to do what they're going to do, and they spend the money on what they're going to spend it on, not absorb CEO fees and salaries and everything else. Of course, with the big ones, there's going to be a lot of money eaten up with administration, but there's a lot of charities out there that don't do the right thing, and we vet our charities they've got to spend a certain amount of money on their charitable cause per year. And once money's raised through Fund My Challenge, they've got 12 months to spend it. They can't keep it for future events, which is, I think, unique, because what happens when people come on to our platform and they want to see what charities on there, they've got the confidence to know where the money's going. And that's a big plus for us.
Yeah, because I know I've been part of a few platforms. I won't mention names because I don't want to get anyone, especially myself, in trouble. But you donate and then you go, I wonder where that really went. Yeah. Because you don't get anything back. You get a contribution notification, but you don't actually know.
Probably the biggest, I won't say their name either, but when you donate to them, you don't get a taxable receipt. You don't know where it's all going. And with other platforms, there might be a kid out there that needs a speeding fine parked and he needs a speeding fine paid for. He can go put it on other platforms, and he might need $1,000 to go pay for his parking fines and goes and get it. We don't let people do that on our platform. Okay. Our platform is for charities and foundations and people in need through a benevolent fund, which allows us to then donate the money to a person who really needs it. And Greg, I'm going to give Body Science a bit of a pump up. When I did speak to you about my walk that we're going to probably talk about a little bit later on, you were first one to jump on. And there's another one that we're doing at the moment, which for kids with cerebral palsy, and to your credit and to your team and, Pico, you just jumped on board and said, listen, we want to be a part of this. And guys like you make our job more rewarding.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And
well, we're only as good as the people around us, and you were around us and you told us what you thought. And I mean, when you sit down and hear a lot of these stories, like the behind your challenges, because I'll be honest, I went in there and I thought, why would Chris have called it Fund My Challenge? And I went, but what you've notice it is charities do really well when there's a challenge involved or something to do with the charity. Not just, people don't want to just hand over $20 and go, see you later. Most people want to get involved or do something or be part of it or have a reason to ask other people to help them on their journey through that. And I guess that's why you called it Fund My Challenge.
Yeah, and also too,
plus the stupid shit you guys are up to at the moment. Jumping out of helicopters and stuff.
But we're doing some pretty cool stuff. Like, we've only been around for a little bit now, and we're making some noise, which I'm very proud of. Like, we've got, just like you've got an unbelievable team behind you, and we're building our team to hopefully get like you guys. But it's all about creating that fun. And my career, like I was blessed enough to play 14 years. I met some incredible people off the field. I met some incredible people on the field. But like Celeste, and this is on the theme of it. It's like Celeste when she decided to do what she did and use her personality to enhance a challenge. And it wasn't a challenge. She didn't do anything physical. And you don't need to do anything physical to be on Fund My Challenge. Yep. You guys have simply put out a challenge that you want to raise a certain amount for these kids. And it's not about creating that, but it's about having people around that want to elevate it. And on top of our team, we've got some amazing ambassadors that want to plug it and help it and push it through and put it out to their world and create that awareness. And that's what Fund My Challenge is all about, creating awareness for these charities that need your help. Like, there's a heap of them.
How do you get guys like Link Lewis and Parko involved in things like this?
You just talk about it and they go, we want on.
Yeah, is that right?
That's their personal. I know that I could probably say that I'd say 100% of the rugby league world, they don't know about it right now. But if I'm asking, like I was talking to Kurt Capel, just coming off an unbelievable couple of seasons, couple of grand finals, a couple of State of Origin games for Queensland. I got talking to him about it because I'm being a family friend, and he's like, whatever you need, I'm there for you. If you need me to plug something or you need me to do something, I'm there for you. And that's what happens. And unfortunately, with the world that we're living in at the moment, with COVID, and the last 2 years have been pretty hard for everyone.
Absolutely.
It's so nice to have that response when you do talk about what you're doing.
So, mate, the other night when I stumbled across you at another fundraiser for the Maris's Ball, and somebody said to me, "Oh, Greg, I see you've been raising money for the kids with cerebral palsy. How did you meet Walks?" And I said, "Oh, just through sport and athlete. Willie Mason was the first time. I actually met you face to face." They said to me, and I wanted to ask you this: why is he so invested in charity work now?
Well, the thing is, I've been asked that 1,000 times. Like the intro was pretty much me. Off the field was a bit loose, very loose. On the field, probably looser. We got to, when I was playing football, we got to visit school kids. And this is what happens with rugby league and anyone that's involved with sport that's out there that professionally. If you do something wrong, the first thing the media do is jump on your back and they ride you, and everyone wants to be a part of it, and everyone wants to throw stones at you on your way down, which is fine, which is great, because that's what sometimes brings sports people back up to the top is the knockdowns they get because they want to prove it wrong. I had the beauty of playing rugby league for 14 years, professional rugby league, going into school visits, doing all the good things in life that no one else sees, and you don't want kudos for it. You don't want it, and I certainly don't want it now. Like I love what I'm doing, and I love the challenge, and I love the difference you can make with people's lives. And when I was playing rugby league, we'd go to hospital visits and see these sick kids through Ronald McDonald House and all this sort of stuff. It was so rewarding, but I never got to do it. And when I was playing rugby league, and you sort of get entrenched in what you're doing, and you forget about those things when you finish playing football. And it was just out of pure luck that when I was going through all my stuff with my business, that I was sitting at home, I met these fantastic people. And when you hand over a check right now, the reason why I'm invested is because you want to hand over a check to a company, a charity like Rize Up, and you hear the stories about, domestic violence and these kids that have been brought up with domestic violence. There might be 3, 4, 5 kids sitting in a house where their mother or father are abusive to everyone, and you can relocate a family just on or 10 families with my walk. Nicole was saying that I'm looking at relocating 10 families, which if there's say 4 kids in the families, that's 40 kids that have been taken away from a domestic violence situation and housed somewhere else because of my walk. That's pretty cool. Your challenge, which is going to keep on going until we get to that $15,000 mark, sitting down with Ryan from Feather and Finch and talking about his young fella Carter who's got cerebral palsy, and the excitement. And when we went down, and that's like, people ask you and they don't get it because they've never been in that space. Yeah. But when you see it, like, I've got goosebumps
watching him play football with Kenny Wallace and Bevy and Brielle and
see
you.
See the smile on his face?
Yeah.
That's why you do it. Yeah. It's rad. It's so rad. And there's other platforms out there that are not in for the, but I touched on it when I was playing footy, and I liked it because you saw the excitement of walking into Ronald McDonald House and you see these kids' faces light up because you walk in there and they've seen you on TV, and they look at you as a role model, which I'm a little bit funny about the term role model, because I don't think that just because you're on TV you need to be a role model to someone that you don't know, but that's another story. But that's why, that's the enjoyment. It's so crazy to sit there, and then there might be something else that walks through my door that needs help, and you can help them. And I'm not saying that I'm a savior. Like, I've got so many flaws, it's ridiculous.
You don't have to protect what you're saying, mate. It's what you're saying's true.
It's so true. Like you saw it firsthand the other day. It's so cool.
Oh, that day was it was epic. It was epic. And it wasn't until the chair was removed from the situation that you actually got a really true picture of what you're giving with one of those speed races.
Yep. Yeah. Race runners. It's a gift. It is a true gift of life. Did you see Carter's face?
Yeah.
When he got in it?
Yeah.
You asked Carter to walk from here to that wall away, which is 4.5 metres, 5 metres, and he struggles to get there.
Yeah, he crawled on the day like he's crawling.
So. And then you put him in a race runner, and he's
off,
and he's gone 100 metres, and he's flying, and he's chasing after you. There's your answer.
Mate, that's one of the best things we've done at Body Science ever. And
you're providing some pretty good players with some very good supplements.
We've done some good things. It's not just about the sups, mate.
No,
though.
I know.
It's about the why. Like, anyone can make a supplement, really.
Not as good
if they want to, they can. Anyone can do anything, really.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like,
anyone can do it.
And while we're there, let's talk about that. And if you want me to shut up, tell me at any time. And first time I met you, you were really open with me. You said, "Hey, Greg, here's my story." And left footy, rock and roll, lifestyle, living the dream. Had a plan, which a lot of players don't. Like, had a plan with your earth-moving business, but the grind, the business side, the stress, the anxiety, and you had you went pretty dark, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I didn't think I'd ever top myself or go that far, but the work life, because when you leave school, you go straight into playing rugby league. Well, I did. At 17, I lived in Toowoomba or Crow's Nest. I went straight down to the Broncos, and I didn't really go into that work life. I just went into the football, and then I was lucky enough to see my two older brothers, Ben and Shane, play their rugby league. They're older than me, and then their transition from football into work life was a lot different because they didn't have an exit strategy as planned. And then I did, and then I had my earth moving, and like I said, I ran into a lot of trouble. And
you had a big business too, didn't you?
Yeah, we were turning over a fair chunk of change.
When you started telling me who you're working with and where you're going and what you're doing.
We had the big companies. We had Origin, we had Rio Tinto that I was working for, but my work-life balance was all work, no life, no family, and that's where I was about to tip over, and I burnt myself out because I was taking so much work on, and my mental state went into absolute overload. And it's amazing, like, people talk about depression and all that sort of stuff, but they forget about stress. Greg, I guess you probably don't have. I can't speak for you, but you've got an amazing team with you that can help with your work life, but I didn't have that, and I sort of keeled over. And there were times where a lot of my work was Roma, Gladstone and here, and I called it the Bermuda Triangle because it took me 6 hours to drive to Gladstone, 7 to Roma, and then 7 back to here. So it was like a triangle. And I just remember there were times where I'd be, driving between Dalby and Roma, and I'd see a truck coming towards me, and I could think to myself, I could just drive, hang a right, and go straight into it and never be seen again. But when you got a young family, you sort of snap out of it pretty quick. You just think about them, and you got a purpose, and that was my purpose. And when it was sort of taken away from me, that was it was a big learning curve, and sort of makes me a little bit proud now that I can get back up
mate, you should
go
be
again.
Absolutely stoked.
Bit of resilience, mate. You go. Wayne always used to say to me, like, I used to get in trouble off the field, and Wayne used to ring me and he'd go, right, how are you going to go now? And then he'd ring me back a month later and he'd go, geez, you're a resilient prick, aren't you? And that was a relationship I had with Wayne.
Yeah.
Wayne's, mate, he's a very good man manager. He's a good dude. He gets a bit of bad press at the moment, but I've always got that respect for him because he's someone that I can ring and have a yarn to, and sit down and see how we're going. But my path's pretty worn, and that's my journey. And you say to me all the time that you're open, but that's my journey. And if people want to judge me for that, well, then they can judge me for that. Mate,
I think it's monumental that as a young male, you can talk about what you just did, because there's a lot of guys out there that don't.
And that's the thing, Greg. I've got a theory on men's mental health and women. My theory, and this is only my theory, and someone can tell me to shut up, but this is my theory. As a male, and I've got a boy-girl twin, and they're both 11. I've got a theory on it that when you're a young boy and you fall over, walking along the footpath, and you graze your knee and you're bleeding, and you're 4 or 5, your father walks over and says, "Come on, son, get up. Boys don't cry." Now, at 5 or 6, when you hear your father say, "Get up, boys don't cry, don't show your emotion." There's people looking. But then when my daughter would fall over, his twin, first thing a father would do, walk over, I'd pick her up. "Darling, you okay? Get the Band-Aids." I'd sit there and I'd aid to her. Yep. So as a young age, you're taught to, as a male, you're taught to hide your emotion. And then that reflects into, again, this is my theory and only my theory, this is what I've observed, is when women go for lunch, and there's 10 of them, there'll be tears, there'll be cries, there'll be loves, laughter, and they'll talk about their problems, and they'll talk about, "Oh, my husband's an arsehole," and then they'll have a cry about it, and so their emotions are not held in here, they're held there because they've got a support team around them. But when there's 10 blokes at the pub and you're feeling down, you don't want to go, "Hey, Greg," that's about how loud you'd say it, if you'd say it at all. Yeah. So you don't have that outlook, because males have always been taught as a young kid, you hide your emotions and you stay away from crying. And like, my kids ask me if I cry. Of course I cry. Yeah. Like, I've got no shame in saying I cry. And of course I'm going to talk to my mates. And even if they don't want to listen, I'll talk about where my problems are. And that's what got me through, my tough, going from playing football into business. That's where, when I was stressed and anxious, and I'd have 5 massive anxiety attacks a day, I'd start talking about them, because that was my release. And whether someone wanted to listen, I still got it out. Yeah, nice. And mate, you're here today to tell a good story about raising money for other people. Hey team, it's Greg from Body Science here. The Hydroxyburn Shred is back on shelf. It's our new therapeutic, has all the taste. And if you're looking for a better thermogenic, we've really pushed for the pursuit of a better thermogenic. Full disclosure on the labelling. What do we mean? Caffeine levels have changed. We all know the rules have changed. The ingredients have changed. The claims have changed. We have a clean label with premium quality ingredients for you. So what does that mean for you? You can look at things like metabolism, energy, sugar metabolism, fat metabolism, cognitive function, thyroid, and just general health and well-being, and it's all on the label. If you're taking a fat burner now and it doesn't say it on the label, have a look at it and go, why? Get on board. So how did you meet your team at Fund My Challenge? And who is Fund My Challenge? Yeah, it was Dan Crothers. He's a young, very, very, very driven young fella. He had the world record for the most chin-ups there for a while. He had 11 in 1 hour. He had 1,100 chin-ups in 1 hour. Yeah, he. I think in 2008 he was the world champion paddleboarder. So he comes from a sports background, and when he's got something in his head, he's very driven to get it done. And then I met Theo Varaktaris, who owns Usher Group. He owns a very big painting company in Australia, all around Australia, and we just got talking about it, and that's my team, and then it's just built from there. So we're doing actually, if you want to have a look at something, it's a very, very big challenge right now that we're working on. We have Wim Hof on board to do a Wim Hof challenge. So the Wim Hof challenge starts on the 1st, which is last week. Wim Hof. Have a look at it on Fund My Challenge. We've got some very big celebrities on board and influencers that are I'll give you a rundown. Wim Hof, it's called Rize Up, #Rize Up. It's for mental health. We encourage people to do 40 seconds a day, either in a cold shower, ice bath, go for a cold swim, just to get that mental health, because Wim Hof is all about mental health.
Yep.
With what he's doing, breathing. So we've got #Rize Up for White Cloud, which is a mental health charity here in Australia. And we got Wim Hof. Come on a couple of weeks ago to launch it, and as of the 1st, we had the blue tiles to allow people to know what we're doing and how we're doing, and we want to make it go viral. So we've got a couple more weeks, and anyone wants to jump on board and donate. It's all going to a great cause.
Wow, that's awesome, mate. That is truly awesome.
It's nothing like having Wim Hof on. He's an absolute animal. He had the record for the most. I think he had hour and 50 minutes in an ice bath full of ice, and I think he's just been beaten. So hopefully we can entice him to come on and break that record that someone else has beaten him.
Yeah, I'd want to rock up to the Goldie and do an hour 50 plus in an ice bath. That'd be awesome.
Well, you're quite welcome, Greg. You're quite welcome.
What's your record? I've seen you've been having a few ice baths. You've been training for this, haven't you?
Mate, 12 and a half minutes.
Is it?
Yeah, 12 and a half minutes. We had at the office, we've got an ice bath, and the first day I got there, Theo said, I've done 4.5 minutes. So me being a ex-sports person, I said, well, I'm going to get to 5. So I got to 5 and turn up the next day, and he goes, I just got out 5.5, so I went 6. And then that was a bit of a cat and mouse game for a couple of weeks, and I was away for 2 weeks, and he said, I got to 10.5 minutes. I said, righto, sweet, cool. So I thought, righto, well, I'll get out there and beat that. And I thought to myself, I can't just go to 11 because he'll go 11.5. So I went to 12.5, and I wish I had taken Wim's advice and got my breathing right, because I nearly died.
Wow.
That's our cool little office that we've got going. That team that we're building. It's there's no egos there. It's if you do
awesome.
turn up with an ego, you sort of get put back in your place. And I've been put back in my place a couple of times.
Nice. And so, how did you guys actually hook up and think, let's start a charity? Obviously, you told us why you started the charity before, and that's your key purpose. But why you three?
Well, what happened was Dan and I got talking about it, and word filtered through to Theo. And one thing about Theo, he's got Usher Cup, which is a surfing contest. He's a mad surfer, and he through his company, which is very successful, he donates a lot of money to charity. And his mother, Katie, she's the salt of the earth, she does all the charity stuff, and she just donates to people. And Theo never knew where the money was going.
Yeah, okay.
So he wanted to know, and he became really intrigued in what we're doing and what we're about to start. And he just says, "Listen, boys, I'm in 100%. Like, this is I donate a lot of money per year to charities, a lot of charities, and I don't know where the money's going. So this for me is a bit of clarity as well, and it gives me the confidence to know that there's 58,000 DGR registered charities in Australia, and we have a vetting process. Yeah, so there's a lot of charities, but there's also a lot of charities that don't do what they're supposed to do. And Theo goes, boys, if you need a hand with anything, you let me know. And he just come on board, and he's looking after it. And he's our CEO, which is a very good CEO to have, because he's very generous with what he does.
Yep.
And he looks after a lot of people. And, it's sort of, that just fit for us. We just went, we can't do this on our own. We need the assistance from Theo, and he's come on board and given us a whole heap of hand. And I got talking to Lincoln, and I got talking to Joel, and they just said, listen, you met Joel the other day. Those people fit it. And the thing about my wife, she goes, how do you fit in? I was like, well, I've got my past, and I don't hide from my past.
He's the IT expert.
Yeah.
I saw on your LinkedIn profile, it says information technology.
No, it's definitely.
It's not you.
That must be the other.
Yeah, okay, yeah, right. Yeah. Why tech? What made you go down the tech path?
Oh, I just think that with the world at the moment, tech's where it's at. I've been always intrigued. I'm no good at it, but I've always been intrigued by it. And I've got some other things going, but this is my baby. It's like, I love it. Like, you wake up every day and you got a new challenge. Not fun one challenge, but you got a new challenge with trying to work out how you. People come to me all the time about how they can raise money for their charitable cause or their cause that's close to their heart. And you sit down and then once you come up with a strategy or a challenge, you sort of see their eyes light up, and you think out of the box. And we got, like I said, I've got a pretty good team that can help me with it. And it just see like you sort of got a bit of a different purpose. And doing the walk with Nate, coming from Cairns.
Is he good?
Yeah, he's a legend. He's
a good man, eh?
He's a great man. I had 12 days with him on the walk from Cairns to Gold Coast. He walked with me to Townsville, and it was probably one of the most rewarding 12 days for me personally as for personal development. One thing about Nate, Nate, you've worked with Nate for a long time, but he gives people time, and that's something that it's a trait that not many people have, is to give other people time and respect, and he's got it. He's got it in absolute spades, and he's one of those blokes that you talk to everyone except for Paul Gallen. Well, actually, probably Gal would probably say the same thing. But yeah, with that sort of stuff with Gal, on the footy field, that's the heat of the battle.
Yeah,
I was.
You want that in sport.
And the thing is, he's just a lovely bloke. Not Gal, but I don't know Gal personally, but I'm sure Gal is. But Nate's just one of those people that you want to be with. Like, he makes you feel good to be around. And I had him for 12 days. I don't know if I could probably say that he could say the same thing about me, but I got so much out of him in 12 days that I'm truly grateful that he was there, because he sort of set the platform for me to continue on with that walk. It was a hard walk at the best of times, but to have him there and set the tone for the first 12 days, I was very appreciative.
Mate, and we're on the walk now. What's it like to get out of bed in the morning and know, gee, I've got to walk? Was it 35 Ks or 30?
30 Ks a day.
And you had some smart ass say to you, you're only doing 30 Ks a day. And you invited him on the walk the next day?
Yeah, I did.
How'd that go?
It wasn't good for him.
No, how long did he last?
Oh, he lasted about 8 Ks.
8 Ks, nice. But it's hot up there.
Oh, yeah. And his blisters turned into blood blisters. But he wasn't. But looking back, I thought he was being a smarter, because I was in that mindset. I was in the mindset that I'm doing 30 Ks. It's cool. It's hard. It's very hard. It's hot. You got trucks whizzing past you at 120 Ks an hour. And he sort of said something to me, and I was like, I'd sort of let it go. And then he came back and he said, we're going to walk with you tomorrow. And I think he lasted about 8 Ks. To his credit, he went for another 7 Ks. And then I asked him to jump in the car, and then I ran 8 Ks. And then he jumped back out, and I played a few more games with him, and he sat back in the car for the last 3 Ks. But
at least he rocked up, mate.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like, I was expecting him to say that night, it's easier to say you're going to join, but then he turned up, and full kudos to him, and it's a lot of respect to him. And it was tough. The hardest part of the day was the first 2 minutes. I woke up, the first 2 minutes I opened my eyes, because I realised that I wasn't in my bed. I was away from my family, and it wasn't the most ideal situation to be in, but I was doing it for people, because when I was doing it, you'd wake up, and I wake up at home, and I jump on the phone and scroll through my social media, or read something on the internet, and the messages, because I turn my phone off when I go to bed, the messages coming through keep on going. That's what drives you. That's what gets you up. There was people there that followed me the whole way through that were going through mental issues, and I was a shining light for them, and that's when it makes the blisters and the chafe are sort of way second nature. They're around the corner. It's helping people out, and like I said, I'm not saying that I'm a saviour or a saint, but it was just really cool. And if someone had said to me, listen, if you walk along that highway for 30 Ks a day, you're going to be the happiest person in the world. Well, I got to see it, and I got to experience it, and it was one hell of a way to see Queensland. Yeah,
mate, it's amazing, the story. How can people go and check out what you did? Have you created a site or anything where people can see the journey?
No, we didn't. We didn't really invest too much into it. I just wanted to get home and see the kids again.
Yeah, nice.
I think the happiest person in the world was Courtney, my wife, when I told her I was going to do the challenge, and she said, how long are you going to be away for? And I said, 68 days, and she was doing cartwheels at the back. So I think she was more excited than anyone that I was going to be away from home for 60 days.
Oh, that's good. How good is she?
Yeah, she's a warrior. She's a saint.
So, mate, now that you're a post-footy super entrepreneur, you're also starting a vodka brand.
Yeah, it's a bit different than
same team.
Yeah, virtually the same. There's a few there that have come in, but yeah, just sort of dabble in the vodka or in the alcohol space. I know that it's probably not what I want to like. It's there, but it's not what I want to do with my life. It's about Fund My Challenge is about me. I wake up every day and I think about Fund My Challenge. Yep. I don't think about the vodka, but it is. By the time this has gone to air, it would have launched. We're only going to launch it in a couple of places in Brisbane, and just see how it goes, and just have a bit of a dabble, have a bit of fun with it. And I've got some pretty good guys involved, like Nate's involved, so to have in there and see the distillery get built and where it gets produced is pretty interesting as well. So
it's amazing.
Yeah, well, it's like when I had one knockback in my life, and you just got to be resilient. You got to go again, and that's what I'm doing. So you're only on this earth for maybe 80 years, and if I get to 50, I'll be happy. But
mate, I have to think that I'm 52 now, so there's a much bigger number in my head now. Bigger number between 1 and 100.
Yeah. If I can get anywhere near 70, I'm celebrating.
Yeah. That might change.
Yeah.
Modern miracles of medicine will make sure that the new 70s, the new 50 or something like that. There's so many advanced things happening in the world. But mate, back to your vodka. You guys have been pretty specific on what you want to do there too. You're not just bringing a vodka out. And I just want to tell, this is about you. So I just want to tell you a story. Like, I remember you coming to me going, oh, Greg, I've got these bottles and they're coming from France. All this. And I'm looking going, wow, I make a lot of products. The whole idea of a bottle coming from France has nothing but stress written on it, like wrapped in stress. Oh. And you're so excited and you tell me the story and it's that you've got this real entrepreneur inside you now. Like, and I know you've got a lot more things that you want to do in life. And obviously the challenge gives you unlimited things to do. Yeah. So that's an awesome outlet there. But
yeah, I mean that, and the creative team that I've got as well. Like you just, if you've got a good team, it's like anything in the world or anything you do. If you've got a good team, it's like football. It's like rugby league. I use my football days and my analogies in football with my businesses, and I used them before. And unfortunately, one of them didn't go where I should have been. But you just got to have a crack. If you don't have a crack and you sit in the sidelines and watch the game, well, then you don't know what it's like on the field. Absolutely. So, if you've got a good team, we see these individual sports people, tennis, golf. You only see them. You only see the person. You only see the sports person. But behind them, they've got a team. They got an unbelievable team that makes them get up and train, that drives them, that gives them the goals, that gives them that. If you've got an injury, you need a good physio. You got a technical thing with your stroke, you need a good coach. There's always a back room that you never see. But with this vodka, I got a good creative team. Getting back to the bottles, we were just going to go with a normal bottle that we could have just punched out in the shelves like everyone else does. But, me, like I said, I love it. I really enjoy doing it. And, with my past, I probably shouldn't be involved with an alcohol company. But, I'm just being brutally honest with you. But I step away.
There's a lot of people laughing right now.
Yeah, I step away from that creative side, the guys we got that created the bottle, they put time into it. Yeah. And if it delays our delivery on launch, well then I'm happy with that, because what we've got, the bottle that we've got, is second to none. Like every person that I show, they love it. They want to drink it straight away. Yeah. And that's the difference that you want to make. It's like when Wayne Bennett has a game plan for the finals that he might have thought at the start of the year, there's a couple of plays there that he might want to hold back, and because he knows he's going to get a result. Or Ivan Cleary's this year with the way they played in the last couple of, I keep on going back to my rugby league days with analogies of just holding things back, because if you release those plays early and it's not right, well then you get found out in the grand finals and the big lights. We held ours back, and we could have launched. We've been working on this now for probably 18 months. So the launch date's coming, and the launch date's nearly there. So it's all exciting times in my life at the moment. So I just want to keep on that run and keep on going. Yeah, mate, great. And it's good having right people around you, and it's everything about that, isn't it? It's everything. It's even going back to family life. Like I was brought up with my brothers. There's 4 boys in the family, and mum and dad, and we were brought up to show respect. And it's how you're brought up, and same with the team. You got to toe the line. You got to have that culture. When we had a pretty good family culture, so we're still very close, us boys. So just sick of being known as Sam Walker's uncle. That's a classic. That's a generation thing, isn't it, mate? Just in finishing up, what's next for you? I mean, obviously you've got your challenge, you've got your vodka. Is it step? Because I'll be honest, I have to go to a lot of events. I see you at the mall now. Like you're at everywhere I go, you are. And I'm someone who doesn't make an effort to go to them. So I'm going to a lot. You must be doing some hard yards again. Yeah, I get a little bit anxious going back to my mental days. I just get a little bit anxious. Like we had the Marist Ball a couple of weeks, and my anxiety levels were through the roof. And I think I got there first, and I sat down at the table and just sort of sat down. And whereas back when I was playing, I would have been probably the loudest and whatnot going around. But we get out there and we do our best. But I don't go to everything, and I wouldn't go to everything because it's sort of no purpose in that. Yeah, there's and also too, I quite enjoy being at home. I enjoy socialising. I'm probably the biggest socialiser when I feel like I want to be. Like the other day, I didn't, because it was such a big occasion. Yep. Like the little events. Even coming here to do this I had a little bit of anxiety because I was putting myself out there. But that's, like I said, that's me and whatnot. But yeah, it's a pretty fun life that I'm in at the moment, and I'm really enjoying it. And the best thing is when you go, like it's an old saying, but when you go through a lot of difficulty, and it was amazing how many people dropped off that I thought were friends when I was playing football, and then they saw I was doing well in business, and they came back. And then when I did fall off that perch, when I had my business, it's amazing how many people just think when the ship's sinking, they're off. But getting back to my team and the people that I'm involved with now, they're solid people, and they're people that I want to wake up and work with every day, and hopefully we can inspire people to be better. And I'm still getting inspired. I'm nowhere near where I should be. I've still got plenty of flaws, and I'll probably be working on those things until the day I die.
Yeah, well, mate, that's a journey we've all got. I think. I don't think there's anything special in that. And it's, mate, the big thing is you acknowledge, where you've been, what your downfalls, and what you're doing to move forward. I mean, that's the big thing. It's when we bottle them up, we don't talk about it.
That's when you're
not a good world. Yeah, exactly. So, mate, how do we find Fund My Challenge?
It's on the app store, both app stores with Google Play and app. We're still refining that, so I wouldn't want to push anyone there. But yeah, it's a web-based.
Fundmychallenge.com.au?
Fundmychallenge.com.
Wow. I think I've written that about 50 times in the last 2 months and I still got it wrong.
Fundmychallenge.com.
Fundmychallenge.com. No .au.
No, definitely don't put AU.
Don't put AU. What happens if I go there? Somewhere
you might
not good?
find yourself in some backyard somewhere.
Yeah, okay. Fundmychallenge.com. And, mate, if anybody is, you're pretty active on social media yourself?
Yeah. I don't mind with social media. You can use it in a good way.
Yep.
You can also use it in a bad way too.
I am Chris Walker.
I am Chris Walker.
Yep. And you are, people tell me you're very good at answering DMs and stuff in that space, as long as
definitely.
they're relevant.
There's no pics. Or good pics,
Yes, we'll just let that one go. But, mate, thanks for coming on. Anybody who is looking to change someone else's life, have a chat with Walks, reach out to him on his social, drop an email on fundmychallenge.com, and you can make change yourself because the platform's there to do it, and that's what we love about it so much.
And, mate, on behalf of us, I'd really like to thank Body Science and your team for the amazing work that you guys are doing. It's unbelievable. Like, mate, when you can call someone like you and get advice and ask for advice or ask for anything, you're there. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate everything you've done for us.
Yeah, you'll note there he didn't say good advice. He just said advice. So if anyone's looking for any advice, give me a buzz. I can't guarantee it's good. but no, mate, joking, mate. It's a pleasure to have you in our life. Like, we really enjoy Nathan. I love it. We love the fact, because we're a 22-year-old brand, we've seen the athlete become the adult. And I know that sounds really bad, but there's a massive difference between an athlete and an adult. And it's really good to see you're not an ex-athlete. You're always an athlete. That's something I'm going to tell people. You're always an athlete. But to just change their lives and have a real purpose, And I think sport's getting better at making that an option for people post-sport too, because it's pretty easy to create a footy mill there and just drone person after person and just spit them out the other end. It's good to see all these programs. And I know Mace at Willie's been really boisterous in that space as well about.
But it's also too, like, it's also for a sports person just to be smart about what you're doing. Like, you're not going to play. No one is ever going to play sport in Australia at the moment and then retire and never have to do anything like they do in the NFL, NBA, because they don't get the wage like they do over there, because we don't have the population to support that. So any advice to any young kids coming through, talk to your sponsors, talk to the people that are involved in your club, because all they want to do is help a young football player or a young sports person.
And they're the best people to talk to.
Oh, they're amazing. I wish I realised. Sorry, I thought we were covering, but I realised at a young age. I realised at probably 26, 27 that when you go to a sponsors function, you don't sit in the corner with the players and the people that you're with for 8 hours a day. You go network the room and mingle and find the people that that they're in that room because of you. They don't want to see you sit over there and talk to the players. They want to talk to you and get to know you. And then the people that get to know you, they love you for what you do. But when they actually get to know you and make the decision,
humanise it.
Yeah, humanise it. I'd like to help Chris after he finishes football, and I had the beauty of doing that.
Yeah, that's cool, mate. There's some strong words for any young athlete out there that's jumped on this potty, mate. That's strong words.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for coming on, fundmychallenge.com, and don't be afraid. You'll let, as long as the challenge is legit, you'll work with anyone to create a challenge, won't you?
Yeah, definitely. As long as it aligns with a charity that's on our platform, because they've been vetted.
Vetted, yep.
And we're out there to help change people's lives.
And mate, if a charity wants to become vetted by you too, do they jump on your website? And
they can just jump on and definitely. We want to invite as many charities on here that want to change the world. So I'm sure there's plenty of charities listening to this podcast.
I've had a couple ask me about you recently.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
It's good. I always send them to you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, mate, I'm a massive fan. I'm on board. I know Nathan's totally on board. He loves what we're doing here too. And I know the whole team here is really thankful that we see you in here every week or two, just popping in, saying hello and stuff.
Some of the girls just look at it. Some of the boys work. He's here again.
You think he'd pack an order. Anyway, mate, thanks for coming on board.
Thank you.